Hey everybody, welcome to No Plan, No Problem, the weekly D&D advice podcast where two Dungeon Masters try and find 3 actionable tips for you to use in your next game. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I'm your Dungeon Master, Anto.
We've never not. We always okay, no, I'm just going to say my joke. I'm just going to say what I normally say. And I'm a powerful power gamer, Matthew Perkins.
You can find my stuff across the internet at icarus-games.co.uk.
You can find my stuff over at matthewperkins.net. You just told a lie in the intro.
Completely through you.
Yeah, you said sometimes we find 3 tips. True, as in always. Sometimes we don't. We've never not succeeded.
I suppose that's true. So, there we are. I've been outed as a liar.
We're 25 for 25. We can't be defeated. Okay, so today we're talking about multiclassing. Okay, so multiclassing is something that applies to player characters in the game Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now, the idea is that you start your character off and like, oh, I'm a rogue, I'm sneaking around, this is the kind of character I want. But then, eventually when you level up, if you meet the requirements of another class, some of them have like little capstones that stop you from getting up there, you could go, I'm a rogue, level 3, but I'm also a fighter, level 1, or I'm a barbarian, level 1, or I'm a different class, level 1. And then you can kind of level each of them up sequentially, like put your chips in different piles. And this unlocks different abilities, right? You get whole different kits by just kind of combining abilities in fun ways, and you unlock fun strategies. And it can be really powerful. It can be really, really powerful. So let's just talk about the concept of multiclassing and the way that affects the game and the kind of questions people have about this. So, Anto, who's going to help us out today, you liar?
So, our first adventurer helping us out is Malevolent Platypus from r/3d6. And they're saying, how useful is multiclassing? What classes, subclasses should or shouldn't be multiclassed? And they want to know, are you disadvantaging yourself by sticking to a single class? Or are you disadvantaging yourself by multiclassing? Like, what are the advantages?
Are you disadvantaging yourself by sticking to a class? You look, only in the context, if you are the only person not doing something, maybe, I would look, in an ideal world, I would like to say that it is just a point of difference.
Yeah.
You know? Even though I made a joke and started saying, I'm a powerful power gamer, I'm not a powerful power gamer. I'm the opposite. I'm a weak gamer. Don't be a power gamer, be a weak gamer, like me.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you're disadvantaging yourself by sticking to a single class?
Depends on the class, because I think some classes benefit from reaching the higher tiers of their kind of capstone abilities more than others. So if the only time I think multiclassing really matters in terms of being a disadvantage or not is if you're going to get to 20th level. Because once you get sort of level 17 and above, particularly if you're a caster, that's when 9th level spells come into effect. And if I was a wizard, I would never multiclass so much that I'd lose that 9th level slot, because I want that wish.
Okay. Well, here's my counter to that kind of thinking. Like, do you play a D&D game? Do you think it's reasonable to presume that you're going to get level 20? Because if you can build a character to be optimally I'm doing power gaming, to be powerful or useful at a lower level, right? You could try and kit yourself out to be, I'm going to hit my stride at level 5 to level 7, and then I'll kind of peter off. Because if you know the campaign's only going to go to level 8 or so, like, I don't know, what's wrong with that? Yeah, because here's one thing that we need to clarify in with multiclassing, is that even though you're taking levels in a different class, the level cap is still 20.
Yeah.
So if you multiclass 1 level in Rogue, that means you only get level 19 in Wizard.
Yeah.
So it is kind of an opportunity cost.
It's one of those things, in terms of do I plan for level 20? If I'm making a character, I will, unless I've been told otherwise, I will always think about the lifespan of that character. So if a Dungeon Master says to me, this is going to be a one-shot, you're only going to play this character once, then I will build that character to be for that single session. or if they say we're going to play this adventure, it goes from level 1 to 10 and then we finish, then I'm only going to think about up to level 10. If the dungeon master doesn't make any considerations or is like, we are just going to play for as long as it goes, then I want to be thinking to that high level, because there is a chance that if you don't, you'll get to that high level and you'll be like, oh, I wish I'd made different decisions and choices earlier on in our campaign career so that I could now do these things which would benefit me in these high levels, or which I'd really enjoy in these high levels, but I can't do them now because of the choices I've made. So with regards to multiclassing specifically, if I was going to play a wizard in a long-term campaign and I wanted to multiclass, I would make sure that I'm never blocking myself off from that 9th level spell.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. It's good that you're kind of cognizant of your goals and you're aware of what you're trading, you know? I did, when I first started playing D&D, there was a guy who made a character called, what was it? Like Max Normal or Joe Average? I think it might have been Max Normal.
Yeah.
And he was just a standard adventurer. He goes, I wake up at 9 and I go to bed at 5. I see my 3.5 children and I just go on the adventure. It's like, aha, let's go to the dungeon. And he took 1 level in every class.
Yeah.
And all of his stats were even. They're all 12s or something.
I think that multiclassing can be kind of a disadvantage to you, if in as much as obviously if you take 3 levels in or 4 levels in fighter and then a level in another class, you're not getting that 5th level extra attack. And it's those kind of levels, there are key levels for each class where not hitting that level or getting there slower means that you will perform worse at that class.
Yeah, you can multi-class bad.
Yeah. And I think the tip would just be consider the kind of game you're playing. So if you're going to multi-class, you want to approach it differently depending on what kind of game you're playing. If you're playing a long-term versus a one-shot or like a medium-length campaign, if you need to know what you're going into to make the right multi-class choices.
But if the question was, are you disadvantaging yourself, right? Or like, how does multiclassing affect power? Multiclassing does affect power. Sometimes it makes you more powerful, sometimes it makes you less powerful. The only way that's a problem is if the other players have a bad relationship with that power.
Yeah.
If you have a teammate who is trying to win and trying to make a powerful character, and you're comparing yourself, am I at a disadvantage? You shouldn't feel disadvantaged by the choices that the other players make.
Yeah.
And then when I say that, it's not a reflection of you saying like it's bad of you to feel like you're weak compared to this person. It's bad of someone else to be playing like such a demonstrably different game to you that you feel bad about the way that you're playing.
Yeah.
That's that feels like a misalignment of expectations.
The like the max normal, the absurd character that multiclasses into every class. There's only a very, very small kind of segment of tables where that isn't going to be incredibly disruptive and impact other people's fun. Because if everyone else is playing is playing the game seriously, taking it seriously, approaching it as you would in a normal game, and coming up against threats for like 15th level, and then you've just got this, not even the equivalent of 15 level 1s running around, just it is going to impact everyone else. Like everyone else is throwing high level magic or performing big abilities, and this character's like, I'm going to use my cantrip. I'm going to hit it for 1d4 with my key.
I've got my torch. Yeah. I can see.
I can do a d6 of sneak attack damage.
Is there any treasure in this room?
Exactly.
Just loves adventuring.
So, in that sense, just as general advice, kind of the choices you make can impact other people's fun.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good kind of avenue to go with this tip. I think I'm happy with that, because it feels like not accurate. It feels not accurate to say that multiclassing is a problem because it makes people more powerful.
Yeah.
No, the problem is that people want to become more powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. So it's kind of a misnomer. It feels.
Yeah.
Do you have something written down for a tip there? Did you get some kind of...
Yeah, be mindful of how your choices are affecting other
Good.
people's fun.
Good. I'm just double checking because I don't want to make sure that we have 4 tips or 2 tips because what we do on this show is we get 3 tips, Anto.
You want to make sure that we don't not get tips.
Okay, don't double negative me. I don't know what I was saying anymore. You're doing your double speak. This rat that I work with. Hey, let's roll for friendship.
Let's do this.
It was bad timing to call you a rat.
It's fine. We're in the rat friendship zone now. So if you enjoy the show, the best way to help support us is to be our friend and engage with us. Leave us those comments down below. Especially on this episode, we want to hear what multi-classes you have done and what combinations have you used in the past as a player that you found particularly interesting. If you're listening to us on a plethora of podcast platforms, the best way for you to help is to drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us, boosts us, shows us to new people. And then if you want to help support us even more, keep the lights on, all that good stuff, you can find us over on Patreon, where you get access to our pre-shows, as well as a bunch of extra PDF resources that we make related to things that we talk about in certain episodes.
On this, on the YouTube comments to this one, we're about to go into a segment after we get out of this. We haven't done the dice roll thing, so we're still very much in the friendship zone, which means I can't call him any kind of animal. I have to be nice. Ugh, this guy. Sorry, I'm getting too mean for this roll for friendship. But in the YouTube comments to this one, it would be cool if we could hear your ideas, your versions of what's about to come up. Okay, let's get out of here so I can talk about it.
Oh, I'm excited for this segment because I have no idea what we're about to do, so hit me.
Quiet, you. I'm sorry.
I saw the immediate guilt.
So we're actually doing a stats town at the moment.
Okay.
And what I want to look at is, so I don't know how math works, but I've heard that if you so if there are 8 classes and we put that 8 to the power of 8, that's how many combinations of class there are of 1 to 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's all up, I don't know. But anyway, there are a whole bunch of little configurations that you can rearrange these classes. Rogue, wizard, wizard, barbarian, wizard, something else. And I want to try and think up, do they combine into a different class? Like if you are here's the crap example. Here's the one I don't want. I'm a fighter wizard. I'm a spellblade.
Yeah.
Because spellblade, it's been done, right?
Yeah.
But that idea of a combo class and maybe even unlocking some kind of usable ability just on the merit of, no, you are no longer these 2 classes, you are this.
Yes, I have had a thought that is only tangentially related, but I would really like to see multi-class traits. So if you choose Fighter Wizard, then you unlock a new trait list of here is what the multi-class Fighter Wizard also gets access to. They can replace one of their features from one of their levels with this. That would be super cool.
That would be really fun. But here's the thing. I think that you're excited about the cool thing that they can do. I'm just excited about the name.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they? If you combine a rogue and a monk, they become a
runk.
Okay. Get out. Get in the bin. Get in the bin, you rat. I was going to say a skulker. What did you say? A skunk?
A runk.
A smunk? A runk? What is that?
Clearly,
Look,
I chose chaos when we started this episode.
Oh no. I just realized something, Anto. We're doing a bad podcast.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
We'll steer back to your idea. Let's look at some combinations. So barbarian and bard. I'm just looking at the list and I'm just going to choose the first 2.
Okay, barbarian bard.
What?
Oh, you didn't have an idea. You're just going to say the names.
I don't have a name for their combination, but I have an idea of what I would like to see from that character concept.
Okay, you do that, and I'll think of the name for it. Let's do it.
So, barbarians filled with rage. Bards tend to be musical, performative in some way. I want this character to be a metal musician. Like, their whole thing is metal.
Yeah, the Thrasher. Done.
The Thrasher.
You're
Perfect.
a Thrasher.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next in the alphabetical list? Let's do those pairings.
Okay, cleric and druid.
Okay. Yep.
So we've got a holy warrior, and then we've got the protector of nature. So I'm thinking,
what about it? Like, you become a guru.
A guru, or what do they call the caretakers of graveyards? Someone that tends to the nature of a graveyard.
Oh yeah. I don't think they have a name. I think they just call them by whatever their first name, like John, Stephen. I don't know.
The name definitely isn't the Undertaker, but I want to call them the Undertaker.
Yeah, you're an Undertaker. That is
put the hat on.
And the Undertaker.
Yeah, the Undertaker.
So, what kind of ability would they get?
It would have to be something like relating to the dead if they're involved in the graveyard.
I got it. I want to combine like the death and the wild shape idea. So you have an option, like it's kind of like Spare the Dying, where it's like you protect a dead person. Mm-hmm. You can turn corpses into animals and like give the body a new lease. Yeah. So it's kind of like you wild shape something else. It's dead. It becomes a fox. Goodbye. You know
That's
what I mean?
Pretty cool. Yeah. So like transforming the spirit of them into like go be free. That's cool.
Yeah. Dude, this is fun. Okay, what's next in alphabetical?
Fighter and monk are the next pair.
Fighter and monk. They're quite similar, aren't they?
No. We go for the full-on pun name here, and we call them the Funk, and they are just a funk musician.
I've got to look at my contract and see if I have veto power. I don't know what I signed up for here. What's happening? Who is this man? What's really sad is I can't think of anything else.
Exactly. Like, fighter is just, your standard combat. The monk is combat, but with, discipline and martial arts and key. Oh,
how about the class is the master at arms? Mm-hmm. Think about it, because a monk is an expert in hand-to-hand combat, and a fighter would be an expert in, like, martial kind of weapon combat.
Yeah.
And combining those, being like, look, I have studied every single way of fighting.
Yeah,
I will go you in any way. And maybe like they could have some kind of ability that they could use something to instruct, and they could for like 10 minutes they could give somebody a lesson on how to use their weapon better.
Yeah,
and it would confer some bonus. Like if you're a barbarian using a greatsword, I can go, hey, I know the greatsword moves. Yeah. I'm a master at arms. What they call me? They
are proficient with just every type of weapon, armor, and shields. And then they can confer that proficiency to other people as part of like a ritual.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Man, I can't believe I actually came around to liking that combination. I was bagging it at the start.
The funk really threw you off.
It did. Honestly, it threw me through a loop, the funk. I wasn't ready. All right, what else we got?
We've got Paladin and Ranger. So we've got someone that has taken an oath and believes in something strong enough that it gives them power. And then we've got someone that protects the world from the threats at the edge of civilization.
Paladin and Ranger. Man, this is... When I wrote this segment down on our run sheet, I didn't think it would be this hard. This is very difficult.
It's the Night's Watch. You take an oath, you believe in something bigger than yourself, you're protecting the world from threats beyond the edge of the civilization. I am the shield that guards the realm of men.
Yeah, and like maybe you could tie. Man, you're so good at this. And you could tie in the mechanic to being like, let's tie the paladin abilities and then give them a bonus when they relate to the favorite terrain.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're in your zone, maybe you smite harder or something like that.
Or you do extra smite damage based on if something is your quarry or your whatever. Your favoured foe. That's the one.
I've taken an oath of punching dragons as hard as I can.
That would be an incredible oath.
It would be a short-lived oath.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Next, we've got rogue and sorcerer.
God, how many classes are there?
There's only 2 more.
Okay, so rogue is like a sneaky, swashbuckling, thiefy vagabond, and a what is it? Sorcerer.
So sorcerer is someone who gets their magic from their blood.
Okay. Ooh. How about this for a theme? It's you the way you got your magic is you. Oh no, cause this can't apply because it's a class is something you take. I was thinking of like you stole your magic.
Yeah,
you didn't get it, you stole it. But that doesn't really apply. It applies to a backstory.
So I do like the idea of stolen magic though, because you don't. The class is something that you take, but maybe you take that class by stealing the magic. You start as rogue, and then you steal your sorcerer magic, and your sorcerer's origin is stolen magic rather than a bloodline. You took the magic from something.
That is sick. And then the ability that you get is that you can, you have an ability to drain sorcery points out of people.
Yeah.
If you drain magic.
Yeah. Drain a spell slot out of them in exchange for a sorcery's point.
How about we leave the last one up to YouTube comments and people can suggest their ones?
Warlock
because I am genuinely out of idea. Warlock wizards. Oh, that's a crap one. How about any combination of warlock wizards or artificer?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. What's it? Is it? I know we do this all the time. Is the tip just, use combination classes?
I think that the tip should be to consider giving your players a unique ability based on their multi-class combination. Because that is so cool that I wish it was in the base game.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, now it almost is, because what I'm going to do is write all of this stuff up and make it into a fancy little PDF and put that on Patreon for all our patrons, and you can inflict that on your game. Yes. Sorry. I'm glad we didn't pick the name The Funk.
No. I'm disappointed. Deeply disappointed.
Okay. We are 2 tips down. So I guess that means we end the podcast. Oh, wait, no, we do 3 tips here. We do 3 tips on this podcast. So what's the next tip, Anto? What are we going to do? Who's going to help us?
So the next adventurer helping us is Flawless P401 from the D&D Next subreddit. And they're saying, thematically, is there a reason to multi-class? Like, they understand the mechanical reasons to do it, but they want to know why would you multi-class from a narrative standpoint?
Oh. Yeah. Look, as a dungeon master, when I see somebody multi-classing, use it, and I usually like it when people multi-class during the game. They had a character that was one thing, and they went, let's do this other thing.
Yeah.
I like it because usually I've seen it as a result of them reacting to the world or letting the world change them in some way.
Yeah.
It's not often just going, I want to be a fighter now. Yeah. It's, no, we met a really cool fighter, and my character had a relation with them. I want them to instruct me in being a fighter. It's like to show how close I am to that character.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I think that is the best reason to multi-class. So you see that something has changed about your character. There's been some form of growth, something in the world. You've uncovered something in your world and you go, ooh, I want to do more of that. And the way you do more of that is you find a person you train, you uncover an ability, and you multi-class and become a new kind of character based on the things that have happened. I like the idea of it being a reactive thing based on events that have happened. Or I like the idea of when a character incorporates it in their backstory, it tends to be because something has happened and there has been a moment or an event that they've gone, right, after this point, the direction of my life changed. So I started out and I was just a fighter. I was a town guard. I, helped protect this village. And then I saw the damage that magic can do. So I decided, right, I'm going to learn the ways of magic, and I'm going to use magic to destroy magic, and I'm going to become like a magic hunter. And I'm going to use my fighter wizard background and charge in there and destroy the mages.
Sick. And what's weird about that, well, interesting about that, I think, is that when someone's multi-classing in their backstory, and I'm generalizing, I usually think that's because they've gone, I want to multi-class, how am I going to justify that, right?
Yeah.
But then when they multi-class in the game, I usually think that that's the opposite. It's, I I want to engage with this. There's this story element that I want. I will multi-class for it, right? And like it's kind of different priorities. I think there's a little trap here though. Like I remember reading somewhere that old school druids, according to the official law about druids, is that they can only level up if they find a druid that's higher level than them to train them. So they have to go find a master. And if you don't find a master, then you can't level up. So imagine a situation where like a player says, oh, I really want my druid to take a level in rogue. Is there a thieves guild around? Can I find a thief to train me?
Yeah.
And then the master goes, no, there's actually no thieves guild. There aren't any thieves in this town now.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be sad.
It would be sad, but I think that I do quite like the idea of being like, right, okay, you can only level up when you have found an appropriate person to train you, because then it changes the kind of game you're playing. The game then becomes a game of, I need to find a person to train me in this thing. Our motivation is the levels. We no longer get XP. We're no longer milestone in the traditional sense. Our adventures are always in pursuit of the next person who's going to tell me how to lift heavier weights so I can reach another level of barbarian.
Wait. Are you suggesting like this as I know you're not necessarily suggesting it as our tip or anything, but I'm very interested. Are you proposing like a whole other leveling system here?
Yes.
Not XP.
No.
Not story. It's like if you can find an appropriate master and convince them to train you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be a case of you start out, you have become level 1 because you've each been trained by a person, and then you've got to go and explore the world and find all of these different people who will train you to be that higher level. It would create somewhat of an imbalance. It would be more work on the Dungeon Master's part because the players are not going to level symmetrically. So it's very unlikely that you'll find 5 people to train 5 different skill sets in one town. So people are going to level up at different rates.
Until they meet max normal.
So people are going to level up at different rates. So you need to account for that as the Dungeon Master, and the players need to be okay with that, because it means that inevitably one person will be the lowest level when everyone else is a higher level until they train themselves. But I think it could be a really interesting way of giving them direction, because they will always have something to do. There'll never be a time where they're like, what are we going to do now? It's going to be, right, okay, who is the next person that we're going to go and train up? Let's do some research, find out where they are, travel to the place. Things can happen along the way. We get there, propose the NPC to train us. The NPC says, I will do it in exchange for X. We go on the quest to get X or to facilitate X. We get a level in return.
What if like the next... And I am coming around on this. Let me just clarify that the thing I didn't like about the thing with the druids is that it only applied to druids. Yeah. Right? And I just didn't like that imbalance. And in the same way as like, the way I didn't like it as it applied to multiclassing is if this is the only character that wants to multiclass and they can't level up, they can't get the level they want because there's no one to train them. Like, that annoys me. But if it's applying to everybody, that is just such an interesting force to apply to a sandbox game that would give it a very unique feeling compared to every other game. Like, what a great thought experiment. What if, hey, do you know what? I don't even want to what if. I don't want to explore this anymore. Do you know why? Because I actually think I want to talk about this idea just as like a wild card episode. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Because I've got so much juice about that. That's really cool. So we're going to have to find a tip that isn't that, because I want that to be a whole episode.
Okay, that's fine. Then I'm going to have to look at the question again. Thematically, is there a reason to multiclass? Yes, there is.
Yes.
My tip would be specifically for players in this instance, and it would be use narrative events as the motivation for your multiclass. So multiclass in response to events in the world and to change.
Oh, that's a very good tip. So wise. Okay. Well, this is a good episode. This is a great episode of No Plan, No Problem. And you can tell it's good because I'm telling you it's good.
Yeah, that is the surefire way to know.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, you've written down 3 tips. What are they, Anto? Can you please read them back to me?
So tip number 1 is to be mindful of how your choices in multiclassing might affect other people's fun, RE max normal. Tip number 2 is to think about the kind of combinations and unique traits that could come up as a result of multiclassing specific classes together. And then tip 3 for players, use events in the game world and changes in the narrative to inform your multi-class choices. Be kind of reactionary to things that have happened in your multi-class choices.
Oh, cool. So we're doing 3 this time?
Yeah. For a change.
This time we're going to do 3. Okay. Good. Dude, that was really fun. I actually, it was a bit of chaos, but there was some juice right there at the end. Like, I really want to explore that soon. I think it's going to be quite fun.
Yeah.
What did you tell me something you enjoyed about this podcast? I'm sorry I called you a rat.
I mean, that might have been one of the moments I enjoyed the most. Cracking you up is always good fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we're not in the same country, because then you could crack me with a hammer. So, my name has been Matthew Perkins, and you can find all my stuff over at matthewperkins.net.
And my name is Anto, and you can find my stuff across the internet at icarus-games.co.uk.
Now, we joke around, but we really are good friends. The song that plays us out at the end of every episode is called All Together by a band called House Hats. Don't forget to leave a comment downstairs in the YouTube comment zone with your combination class for the multiclassing fun. And this has been no plan problem. This has been no problem. Okay, see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.